Hey there, lonely girl, lonely man, lonely boy. Thinking of pop hits. The late Andrew Gold did Lonely Boy, right? But then again, there was another, oh, what a lonely boy. I got that right? Then there was, I'm such a lonely boy. Da 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 da. Okay. Hi, how are you? Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings Live. I'm in my winter attire here. Um, Major snowstorm in the Hudson Valley of New York as I speak to you. It's biggest one we've had in quite a while. My car is covered in snow, and this should last for a while. 6 to 12 inches around here was the last I heard. So I did a little video in the backyard a while before. Already we have 14 watching. Business is up. I'll have to raise my prices. and that's what it does. We haven't really had any snow since November when we had a little bit, and I took a video of that. That's up here on the channel, the Virtual Church of the Disillusion. My nose always gets itchy. I'm lying already. Oh my goodness, I hope not. Barbara Kendall is first. Hi, Barbara. Mike Fortner. Hello. Hey, Jack. Richard Lyon. Hello, Jack from West Palm Beach. I mentioned you in that video. Don't think I'm jealous, Richard. Yeah, see, I didn't say it right. I said Palm Coast, didn't I? Isn't Palm Coast where Eric Estrada was doing those commercials a number of years ago? Come and buy a plot of land for $6,000 and build the house yourself. We've got better things to do. Something like that. Remember Palm Coast? And I've seen Palm Coast. I've passed it on what is it? I-4? Sounds right. I don't know. But yes, you're in West Palm Beach, which is more elegant, I'm sure. Don't think I'm at all envious of that. That's a negative emotion. Hi, Judy Wright, the cleanup woman. No, that's Betty Wright. You are Judy Wright. Hey, everyone. Linda Justice. Hey, Jack. Hi. Gene Phillips had a little bout of sickness. How you doing, Gene? Are you feeling any better? Massachusetts stuck in rain or snow. We are definitely all snow at this point. The cars are lined up a certain way in the driveway so Red Bear can get out. We have two snow blowers, one for small jobs and one for big jobs. And I think he could even do the tractor if he had to. But this is definitely a big job, meaning the he'll use the one that he pushes by hand, but it's the bigger version. Stefan, Happy New Year, Jack, and everyone. Happy New Year to you. Melissa VD, hey, Jack, and all happy 2024. Feels funny, right? Saying 2024. I mean, it's like I don't know, something about this year. I feel like, well, I've made it to a certain milestone of my life that I'm still alive in 2024, even though I'm only 67 years old. I did stuff in 2023 that could potentially, it's all in God's hands. We have our plans and God just smiles. But I did stuff in 2023 over at the Westchester Hospital where I could potentially extend my life because of it. And now there's this new drug. I'll be telling you about how that's going because I took my first pill, I think, last Tuesday. Tuesday. I hate the Tuesday. What's that movie that I'm talking about? Someone was, oh, you know who it was? I follow Charlie Sheen on Facebook. Now, I don't do much Facebook. Only in the late evening I check it. And Charlie Sheen is a frequent poster. He has words of wisdom. He'll even ask the people, what would you like to see me do in 2024? Somebody said he's going to do anger management again. I don't know. All I know is his former co-star does not look good with a bald head. Get a wig, buddy. It's not for you. Some people look great with a bald head like Telly Savalas did. Some people don't. I wouldn't, I'm one of the wouldn't look good. Um, so, Brenda Noyce is here. Um, and she's popular, I'll tell you that. Shelly, hey, Jack, what about the 100 police cars at the Miami Mall? 100 police cars? Did I miss a story tonight? Sometimes I do because I'm watching Dark Shadows or something, and I hate checking in with CNN. I only do it when I have to. I like Michael Holmes in the overnight. I do like him, but most of the rest of them, I used to be fans, but they sold out just about every one of them. Every one of them. I'll tell you about the New Year's Eve experience. Karen was here. 100 police cars at the Miami Mall, and the reports of 10-foot tall people. What the heck? They shut their airport down and put the all under top secret to not panic the public. Is this like War of the Worlds with Orson Welles? Oh boy, you're making me want to turn the TV on now. It's not April 1st, is it? See, my clicker, I have a Fire Stick um, clicker, but the main clicker for the TV, I guess I got to get a universal remote because I have to do everything else manual, like turn the TV on, turn the volume up, turn it down. Uh, so that's quite something. Now I got to turn this down. I got to go to the Communist News Network because Fox at this hour isn't gonna. Well, they might, but it would be not as good. CNN just does a few things well, like they cover wars well. They've got the great international reporters. Can't beat Matthew Chance and Ben Wiedemann and a few of them. This is Fox on right now. Alexa, go to CNN on Sling. You're probably funning me, Shell, campaign manager for Donald Trump, but in the country of Canada. Of course, it's not going to do it easily. I turned the volume down really low. Alexa, go to Sling. you you caught my attention with that. This is CNN Max. That's not what I want. That'll be Christiane Amanpour with an old show, probably. So what else? Boy, they're coming fast and furious. 48 watching. Hi, everybody. Please let us know where you're watching from, whether you're watching live here in the live stream or the replay. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please like if you like. Also, hit the notification bell. Sometimes we come on out of the blue. We call it pop on to pop off. Occasionally, I call it after hours ramblings if it's late in the night. Heather, hey everyone. Jimmy Maybe is here as well. Boy, Brenda, you are like you are you are popular. You're popular. Were you popular in school? Susan Safadi wanting to talk to Brenda. Brenda, I think you might have to start a fan club here. It's true, she says. All right. Let's see. I should be able to get to this is usually easy, but of course, when I'm doing it while doing a YouTube broadcast, which one is CNN? Hi. Hey there, lonely girl. I got Fox News easily, but I don't have CNN. Alexa, go to CNN on Sling. Not CNN Max. Tricky Dick. I don't want to hear about Tricky Dick. I know all about Tricky Dick. Anybody know about Tricky Dick? It's not going to be the right one. Yeah, this is an old Watergate, an old Watergate documentary. How's everybody doing? Who's having snow? Who's having snow? Hey, Elvis is still singing great, says Shell. Well, we have another Brenda competition, Brenda Noyce. Brenda Sage. Well, hi, welcome. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings. Where are you watching from? We're trying to find out about 10-foot tall people at the Miami airport. Dorothy is here. Dorothy. There are new people, my goodness. And some people that haven't been around with us too long. Charlotte Surratt is here. I'm not saying that right, am I? Surratt. Uh-huh. Lane Dye. Let me put on my reading glasses. Here again, I got Fox News. I can get that easily, but they're not doing anything live. They're playing their old show. Um, Cecil Morgan. Hello, Jack. Cecil Morgan from Holly, Michigan. Well, welcome. Um, Brenda is going to visit Elvis, huh? Yeah, going to Household of Faith. Um, There's been a few others. Now, there we have it. Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. From Hunsinger. We are in Pennsylvania. Oh, really? Um, what general part? I'm not too far from Matamoros, Pennsylvania, here in the Hudson Valley. Um, Joseph Kelly. Hi. How is everyone doing on this chilly and rainy night? Or at least it is in Alabama. Yeah, you're not getting that hardcore snow. You probably don't usually get the core snow, right? We're in a major snowstorm right now. I kid you not. I mean, the plows will be coming by during our broadcast. Betty Flesher, not Fletcher, but Flesher, Miami Mall. Yeah, I wish I could get this. Ah, it's just really weird. Okay, I see. CNN is supposedly playing something on Giuliani. They want to nail him to the cross. Okay, I got CNN, and it looks like they are playing something showing old footage. In other words, they're not live either. CNN and Fox are not live right now. So we'll see what happens. I mean, we knew 2024 was going to be the most incredible year. So stick with us because we are going to see things unfold this year that we have never seen before, just like we did in 2023. But 2023 was like the opening act. Now, the last 3 years have all been crazy. And I'm going to list a few things concerning our president. But by the way, if you're a progressive, don't be offended. If you're a liberal Democrat, remember if you are an old liberal Democrat, like if you're over 60, I'm 67. Um, these are not your people in office. These are not Democrats. They're progressive numbskulls for the most part. And as Kevin Spacey said, we need to get the adults back in the room. Jean Pierre is a child. There's some good stuff to talk about her this week, but I'm not going to do a lot of politics. I'm not going to. Some of this will be in a separate video, and it'll get 185 views. I know where my bread is buttered. We're going to take you inside Household of Faith. I got some really good email, and I'm going to do part one of a stupendous email I got from someone who visited Household of Faith. And then in a pre-recorded video, I'll do the whole thing, and that'll be released Sunday afternoon, the 7th. Yes, it is the anniversary of January 6th. Been hearing a lot about that today. A lot about that today. Um, so who else is new? Um, Two Brendas, and I cannot wait for the pictures. Pictures. Richard Lyon, if somebody was going on, really gotta you gotta type it succinctly, or I'm going to be reading it live, and it's not going to make sense. On in a Republican state. Trust me, CNN would have it on. They would love that. Well, yeah, Richard, they sure do. And they sure do love leaving out anything that doesn't fit their narrative, which means they have sold out, including Mr. Wolfblitzer, everything they learned in journalistic school. Um, but we won't talk politics right now. But I certainly agree with you. I guess I can talk about New Year's Eve. Karen was here, and we're flipping around the Dick Clark's Rock and Roll New Year's Eve. They still use his name with Ryan Seacrest. Nothing against Ryan, one of the hardest working people. At one time, he had a morning show. He had a television show, not the one he does now. He had his top 40 countdown. The man had like 4 or 5 shows. He busy as Steve Harvey. That's the only other example. Steve Harvey still has a morning show, I think. He has this big mansion in his studio. He takes a golf cart from his mansion to his studio on the property, and then he does his morning show, and then he gets ready and he goes in and to tape the Steve Harvey talk show. And then various weekends he's got to do Family Feud. So those game shows, if you don't know, the TV game shows are usually done on a Saturday and Sunday, 5 shows each day. They do 3 shows, then they go to dinner, and they do another 2. So in the course of one weekend, they have done. No, it's still old stuff happening on CNN. And in the course of a weekend, let's see, they've done 5 shows a day. So they've done 2 weeks of shows on a Saturday and Sunday. And back in the day when Paul Lynde was on Hollywood Squares, I've said this before, he was most funny on Thursday and Friday because during his dinner time, have a little nip, and he was more hilarious on Thursday and Friday. Of course, they could always cut him if he got too edgy, but they rarely did. They rarely did. Hello, Katina Swatsworth. I'm happy to see you here. Happy birthday, Elvis. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you. A lot of people saying that. Hi, Shirley Chambers. Snow cream. Snow cream. We are getting we are getting heavy powder. Heavy powder. I don't know if Dennis, my cousin from Boston, is here. He likes the socks. He likes socks. My cousin Dennis. He likes a bowl of chowder and a lager. You got to have a lager. To me, all beer tastes like chilled, rhymes with hiss. So I detest the taste of beer. It was never my drink like it is for Richard Lyon. I bet he likes a cold one. But he doesn't drink the Bud Light. I can tell you that he does not. No way. No way. What do you drink, Richard? We got about 6 inches of snow here in PA. Oh, I forget how far into PA you are, but we must have at least, we're getting close to 6 inches, I think. I don't drink. I am a square. Well, does that mean you wear penny loafers still and white socks? and shirts like Jerry Mathers wore as Leave It to Beaver. In fact, Jerry Mathers, he does all those fan conventions, and he still kind of dresses like the Beaver. He's got paunch now. We lost Wally. We lost Tony Dow last year. That was very sad. But Jerry Mathers is out there. And yes, here is Dennis from Boston. Uh, I'm her. Are you telling us that you've made a decision in your life? So we're going to have to start calling you Denise from Boston? I know what you mean. I'm here, Jack. No snow, but windy. Well, everyone knows it's windy. If you can sing that song, I'm impressed. But the hardest association song to sing is Along Comes Mary. When we met, I was sure out to lunch. Now my empty cup is as sweet as the punch, but it's the verses that go in rapid fire to Along Comes Mary. Take a look at them. Listen to the song, say on Spotify or YouTube Music, I should say, and follow along and learn those lyrics because they're very clever. They're very clever. You like that, Dennis? And let's see. So you're getting snow, Katina. Hi, Nancy DeMarco from Tulsa. Are you living on Tulsa time? Living on Tulsa time. Living on Tulsa time. Robin Roman. Hey, somebody new. Yes, happy birthday, Elvis Bob Joyce at 89 years old. What are you, one of those conspiracy theorists there, Robin? He doesn't look 89. He doesn't. Then people see him in person and say he looks older in person. Then people hug him, including people in the healthcare field who have their arms around elderly people as they help them into bed and stuff. And they say, yeah, he does. So I don't know. Also, the big revelation we think for Pastor Bob is that that's not his hair. Someone pointed out Elvis had never had that much hair in the front, and it does look like it could be a beautiful, very expensive hairpiece. So if we're wrong, Pastor Bob, just do a video for us where you tug on your hair or something, or have somebody else tug on your hair. I'm sure he'll do that for us. He told me, he said, Jack, why don't you just take a 10-foot walk off a 8-foot pier? I wonder what that meant. Lana, did I say Lane before? I'm sorry. Lana is a very pretty name. Lana Dye, D-Y-E. My daughter and I were at the Household of Faith on December 10th. Definitely older in person than on YouTube. Yeah. Everybody says that. Doesn't that make him, Pastor Bob, feel good? 69 watching right now. All right. Please identify yourself. Don't forget your debit card PIN number. That's a joke. No charge to subscribe. Someone said, yeah, probably that Jack Willard charges people to subscribe. I guess you can do that now. Like, I'm gonna admit that I follow this young woman just because her comic timing, even though she doesn't intend for it, can be amazing. But she has Tourette's. She has the kind 10% have where you say bad things. And some of the things she says, are pretty funny. Other times, not so much. But she was on the Dr. Phil show. And he had all the medical records and everything because people say she's faking it. And but she lives in West Virginia, and I follow her. And why did I start telling this story? I don't even know. This is what happens. I have a thought in mind. I have a path. My GPS is set, and then all of a sudden, my GPS in my head goes on the fritz. Goes on the fritz. Patty H, or no, Patty with an I. I'm sorry. Hi, I'm in Kentucky enjoying your videos and lives. I so appreciate that, Patty. But would you be here if I never spoke about Bob Joyce again? People tell me sometimes, they subtly try to tell me, not to do the topic or to think about it and all that. And I'm not saying they're bad people or anything like that, But either way, they're saying commit channel suicide because I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, we did not. We always talk about Bob because you talk about him in the live stream, but I didn't put anything in the title of the live show that we had planned to talk about because I was deliberately not doing it. That was one of the lowest rated live shows we ever had, coming in under 400 views. Last week we had Elvis. We were looking for a reaction to our latest video, which is now over 22,000 views. Thank you very much. Not bad for 2 weeks and still growing all the time. And did Elvis preach Lisa Marie's private funeral, which TMZ talked about, not to be confused with the public memorial. And so I had that in there, and it is now the number one live show we've ever done. When I went to air, it was something like 4,000, 4.1 or 4.2 now. That's the biggest live show we've ever had. And I'll tell you, any day now, our biggest video, The Verdict, uh, Elvis slash Bob Joyce, The Verdict. This is the number one because the one I just talked about, well, there's another one, Verdict 2, which is doing extremely well, 68,000 maybe. But The Verdict 1, any day now, could hit, if not this weekend, could hit 100,000 views. For me, that's really good. I know there's people that get a million and all that, but they do the slick editing and they use a lot of other people's work and what have you. It's not me. I'm the storyteller, with the editing skills of a gnat, you know. So that's exciting. That's exciting. A lot of that 100,000, just so you know, was achieved before the videos were monetized. So it's not like wow, in terms of monetary gain. Hi, Marianne Rossi. We have slush. Well, what you do is you gather up that slush and you get out the cherry syrup and you put it on there and you got yourself a snow cone. A snow cone. Don't eat the yellow snow. This is a public service announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, you may have dogs. A lot of you probably have dogs, or the neighbor's dog comes on over to visit. Don't eat the yellow snow, as the great prophet Frank Zappa once sang about. Elvis has been back since 2011. Well, where was he in those in-between years? Someone asked me that, so I gave it my best shot. First to a wellness center outside the country for 3 or 4 months to get well in mind, body, and spirit. When he came back from that, he might have worked with Orion, the masked singer who sounded like him. There are people that think he might have recorded 1 or 2 tracks on the Orion album, and at a few concerts, he actually, when Orion took a break, the real Elvis came out with the Orion mask on. I've heard that a number of times. I just thought I'd roll it by you. Keep those doggies rolling, rawhide. A lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. 67, my age. Let's make that 167 now. Susan Carter. Well, hi. Hi. Yeah, I'm wearing my Dollar Tree $1.25 glasses. We have an Alaska awaiting news conference on the Alaskan situation. Is that the plane, the brand new plane that they have now grounded, where the kid is sitting? The kid, it's not funny, but it's like, and men think of another way this could have went because we're dirty old men, no matter how old we are. The poor boy is sitting, thank God he's strapped in good in the seat in this brand new plane, and the door just like blows off and sucks his shirt off with it. And but he's okay. And so there's my man Michael Holmes on CNN. I do like him. He's liberal like the rest of them, but he hides it a little better. So I'm waiting to see, guys. I'm waiting to see a headline about 10 foot giants at Miami Airport. I'll keep looking back now and then. Um, but I'm thinking this might be April 1st, and I'm so far gone now, I don't even realize that. I think there's a snowstorm out there, and it's April Fool's Day, Susan talking to Robin. Okay. So last weekend, Pastor Bob sang a little bit of the Hawaiian love song, right? On the December 31st service. It's like happening every week now. He can't help himself. And I just feel in my gut 2024 is going to be a year of change. It's going to be a year of, I know Susan likes to say, Susan Zafati, I believe, likes to say it's a year of reveal. And that's a safe bet in a whole bunch of areas. I don't think it's necessarily going to be the rapture, but no one knows the day or the time. No one knows the hour. Be ready because he will come like a thief in the night. So, I guess we should be preparing. Yeah, that Alaska flight 1282 they're talking about right now. I would think I would have led with the Miami story, so I'm beginning to wonder about this. Hi, Deborah Lake. How you feeling? Good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. We're about to read an email, half of an email. I'll do the whole email in a pre-recorded video that'll be released tomorrow afternoon. But someone going to Household of Faith, I thought was a great letter. I love when people talk in detail about their trip to Household of Faith. I really appreciate that. So, hi, Stephen Spielich, wherever you are. And you're very tired. Now I've got to guess what that means. Are you on some kind of a therapy? See, I follow this EC Stilson on Facebook. Again, I only look at Facebook at night. It's not on my phone right now. Um, I only see it at night. And EC Stilson has stage 4 terminal cancer. And she got diagnosed in 2020. She has kids that are as young as 13. She wants to see them grow up. And, she does some powerful videos, um, talks about the various scans that she has to have. And, when she has radiation, she has like this mask over her and she has to be in that machine for hours. Oh, the things this woman goes through. So, you know, and once you start following someone like that, you get other people that have a terminal illness, and sometimes I follow them and it's like, wow, it's really tough. I forget what I said that was funny, Marianne Rossi, because that happened a few minutes ago. Would you like to know about 1959? Would you like to know about Mrs. Vinoy, my kindergarten teacher at Mechanicstown School in the town of Walkill? I could tell you a little bit about that, but a few minutes ago, I'm not as clear. We'll be starting chemo week after next. So everybody continue to keep Deborah Lake in prayers. So many people have success with chemo these days. They really do. But it takes a while to get there. A lot of people go into remission and have fairly, long time after their treatment, and some people become cancer free. That would be our prayer for you. Try not to miss anybody. 82 watching right now. Let us know where you're watching from and your name or a made up name. Jimmy Samples. I think we've talked to you before. Maybe not. You remind me of Junior Samples from Hee Haw. He was a big guy, very well liked on the Hee Haw show. And there were a lot of good people there. Yes, we'll keep you in prayer. Another person, Farley Deborah. Farley Deborah. Is that Farley and Deborah? Hello, Jack. Happy New Year, everyone. Enjoying this show from Michigan. It's amazing that we get so many people from Michigan, I didn't realize the amount of Muslim people that live in Michigan, which is the reason why they got some of the leadership they got, because they look for people that they think, will support what they want. And, you can lose the state if you lose the Muslim vote. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Now, there are religious Muslims that would believe that bin Laden was a true good Muslim, and there are Muslims that wouldn't feel that way at all. Some just embrace the culture, but they're not very, just like in any religion, right? Including Catholicism and what have you, especially in Catholicism. Although there's some very good Catholics out there, but there are people. Um, there are Indians that are Muslim and what have you. They're very big on the culture. It's like their 35-year-old son will be told who he's going to marry. I mean, the woman will have a little bit of decision as to whether um, she wants to marry him, but not a lot. Not a lot. And daddy controls things because he owns all the businesses. And if son doesn't toe the line, he's going to find himself out with nothing. He'll lose everything. You know, it's not always convenience stores either, by the way. I don't mean to be stereotypical. Hi, Felice Cooper. Hi, hi, hi. Felice from New Jersey. Happy New Year. Um, Took some time out from music composing to say hi. Now, I believe Felice Cooper, you told me your tracks are on Spotify. Is that correct? So we do have to check that out. I'm sorry, I've been kind of busy for someone who is semi-retired. I was supposed to be working with the 95-year-old gentleman next weekend, but now that's been pushed back to early February, I think. And Ted Richards joins us, my buddy Ted Richards. Hello, Jack. And World. Hello, World. That was a sitcom in the 70s. Two DJs. And I don't know why they called it Hello, World, because there was no internet back then. So it's not like someone could have heard them from around the world. Snowing heavy in Vermont. It's snowing heavy here in the Hudson Valley tonight, about 4 to 5 inches. That would be the same for us, at least on the ground, calling for about a foot of snow by tomorrow evening. I don't know if we'll get that much, but it is possible. And Redneck Ways joins us. It's cold in New York this evening. Well, yeah, I guess. Let me see. Yeah, it feels warmer than it actually is. I'm reading 27 degrees right now and definitely snow. Our first big snowstorm in a long time. A long time. We definitely get less snow than we used to. But there's that El Nino, is it? That factors in. And maybe El Nino is not going to be in our favor this year as it has been before. Yeah. So we're already 38 minutes in, and I want to get to that email, part one of the email that I told you about. And if I miss any names, I will try to scroll back and say hello to you. They're still talking about that plane. I don't know about this 10-foot giant thing. Seems to me they want to talk about that. Maybe it's Adam from Dark Shadows. He was like 6'4". He looked taller. That was kind of their Frankenstein storyline. But he didn't look like Frankenstein. He just looked like he had been, I don't know, created from body parts from the grave. So I got this email, we'll say from Marcus. We'll say from Marcus. I am writing to tell you of our story regarding Pastor Bob Joyce. Approximately 8 years ago, a friend told us to check out Pastor Bob Joyce. She was there. She said there were many who thought he was actually Elvis Presley. They give He gives his age and his wife age, and says his mother was a huge Elvis fan, and I remember his music playing throughout my childhood. My wife was also a huge fan of his gospel music. We reviewed a YouTube channel uh, that belonged to Michael Skutnik. I certainly know and remember Michael Skutnik. He had a montage of Elvis information pointing to Bob Joyce. We watched and analyzed all of his information. We discussed the possibilities off and on for about a year. Approximately a year later, sometime around 2016, another YouTube channel called Elvis Presley Reborn as Pastor Bob Joyce popped up from the YouTube algorithm. God bless that algorithm. We no longer could find the previous channel videos. We watched and analyzed the new channel, which had more interesting information and some including Willina. For us, Willina took it over the top. There was just no way it could be a coincidence that the woman Pastor Bob was married to was also the same person Elvis dated in Germany. So I told my wife to pack a bag. We're headed to Benton for the weekend. It's interesting note, both of those channels have been taken down. All right, that's part one of the email. It goes on, and we're going to do a pre recorded video where I do the whole email because he says some interesting things. He has some interesting observations. So that'll be released tomorrow afternoon as I do this. If you're watching on the replay, it could already be up, but it'll be released the afternoon of January 7th, late afternoon, and that'll be up. I don't want to put too many things up at once, because then I'm competing with myself, and I don't want to compete with myself. Let's see. MR, you say, hi, Jack. Just saw that Priscilla is going to do a night with Priscilla on January 20th. That's right around the corner, huh? Not too long. At the Capitol Theater in Rome, New York. Now, I went to a Capitol Theater, but I don't think I went to the one in Rome, New York. Not Passaic, New Jersey, huh? I'm thinking of another theater where I saw Lou Reed. Any Lou Reed fans out there? Is that near you? She said a question and answer session would be available. Can you imagine if someone asked if she knows Bob Joyce? LOL. Is that near you? Rome, New York. Thank you, MR. I looked it up. Almost 4 hours. Almost 4 hours. Over 4 hours if I go the secondary route. Um, Can you imagine if I showed up there? I think she would know who I was. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to, that sounds egotistical, but I think she's probably seen some of the work. I don't think she'd be too happy to see me, and I don't want to do anything to make that a not a spectacular evening for her. If Karen and I show up, I would be interested in the expression on her face, but we of course have a few videos about Priscilla that are kind of recent, and I've not said anything negative about her, but I did get some negative response from the audience, which kind of I was taken aback. Still talking about that plane, okay. Um, Mike is checking in on the email, talking about aliens at the shopping mall from Mike in London. Maybe Mike can solve this because CNN isn't doing it. Oh, he's got a link for me on CBS News. Here it is, all rumors. Even Captain Kirk has commented. All right. I had a feeling, Michael, because they would lead with that. Um, we all want spectacular things to happen sometimes, but then if they do happen, we may not like it. You may not like it when there's aliens knocking on your door, probably wanting to have you join the Jehovah Witness Church or something. Oh, they're knocking on the door of the aliens in New York City, about 68,000 that were just placed there. And I understand Governor Abbott can't put them all there. So now Mayor Adams is going to try to sue the bus companies. The bus companies, give me a break. I hope that's tossed out. They're just hired to do a job, you know, they're hired to do a job. So it's not the bus company's fault. Um, and let's see. Uh, PH sent me a picture of possibly of an how an aged Elvis would look. But PH, I have to say, what you sent me looks more like somebody from the cast of The Sopranos. That was my first thing. I think Elvis has got the kind of face where he would kind of still look like he did before. And perhaps that's exactly what we see. That's exactly what we see. But AI, I'll tell you, you know, Elvis is coming back in AI. Now, what does that exactly mean? Because we know that they've been doing for a long time. Some of the surviving members of either the Sweet Inspirations, the Jordanaires, and some of the surviving members of the Elvis band, not our famous piano player wasn't part of it. Gene, right? What's his name? Gene. But they would play, and Elvis would be on the screen for I think from mostly the Hawaii concert, and they would back him up live. So there's been that for a long time, but not what AI could be. I mean, with AI, would you have to put on 3D glasses or something? Would it look like Elvis is really standing on the stage? How does that work? I haven't really seen any examples of that, you know. So uh, yeah. All right, let's go back to the live stream. Who have we not talked to? Deborah says Farley. Deborah says Priscilla is going to do a show in Detroit. Also, I kind of wanted to go ask about Pastor Bob. I don't think that's cool. That's like going to Household of Faith and asking about Elvis. I wouldn't do that. Hologram, says Susan Safadi. Really, huh? Well, that sounds like it'd be something you want to go see, wouldn't it? So you don't need special glasses or anything. Yes, happy birthday, Elvis, they're saying. Some people here seem to think that man is still alive. Greg Atkins, hello, hello, Jack and everyone. Hi, hi, hi. Weather alert. I got in red under my chat here. I'm not going to press it though. Um, I mean, what else can happen? Chantal. Desjardins. Desjardins. Hello, Jack. Happy New Year. It is snowing in Montreal. Well, you don't get lake effect that far in, do you? Like they would right on the border. Like I lived in Dunkirk, New York. It's where I got my first job in radio, as people here know, in '77 in Fredonia. But I was right on Lake Erie. Dunkirk rests right next to Lake Erie. Oh, and the lake effect snow in the winter was incredible. It was incredible. Anybody, if that sound is annoying, if you can hear it, I'll shut the TV off because they're still talking about that plane, you know. But I did live in Montreal for 6 months in '64. You probably weren't even born then, Chantal. I did live there. I went to for like 4 months because we moved there in like July for 4 months, September to about Christmas time. I went to the John S. O'Connor Catholic School. I don't remember too much else about Montreal except they had this really interesting sponge candy. It kind of looked like a sponge and it was like, yellowish brown and it was kind of syrupy. And I remember that. Um, I don't remember too much. I do remember, I think it was around the time that Petula Clark had her first big hit, Downtown. That was playing everywhere, if I've got my timing right. But welcome from Montreal, Canada. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Honeycomb, honeycomb, honeycomb. Linda Snyder. It's 49 here in Goliad, Texas. 49 degrees. That's cold for Texas, but you get even colder than that, right? In fact, you might see some snow this winter. You did last year, right? You see a little snow, and everything stops in Texas when it snows, even 2 inches. And everything stops. Wow, a lot of new people. 81 people watching right now. Wallace Weddington, like your show. Wally from Port Smith, Ohio. Very nice. Welcome, Wallace. We have a Covington, but never a Weddington. So we're getting all these rich sounding names. So you're probably one of those multimillionaires, Wallace. I mean, it sounds, like you're not living in the ghetto with a name like Wallace Weddington. Welcome. I don't know. It's a rich sounding name. I'd use it in a movie if I was looking to, if I was writing a character for a rich person. I'm thinking of like Trading Places, that great movie with Eddie Murphy and Ralph Bellamy and Donna Michi. I think for Donna Michi and Ralph Bellamy, it was like the last thing they ever did. Great movie. Great movie. And of course, Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd was fantastic in that movie. Yes, yes, yes. What's your favorite movie? I'd like to know. Tell me your favorite movie. We always like audience comments and topics. I want to know what you care about. Thank you, Michael, by the way. And he's going to have something ready for us next week concerning Bob Joyce. I think that's his comment. Richard Lyon, Gone with the Wind. Yeah, frankly, Richard, I don't give. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, it's I can't say I have ever fully embraced it. I think probably embrace Casablanca a little more than that, but I know it's great. I know it's great, and it was very important, lasting. Yeah, it's a classic, no doubt about it. Can't say that isn't. JW61, 42 in Belton, Texas. So even colder. Welcome. Um, been talking to Marilyn from Texas, and she lives close to where my ex lives and not that far from my children, really. So I have been in, no, most of the time I've been in Texas, it's been in Inferno. Although I think I was there once. No, I've definitely frozen Texas now that I'm thinking about this a little more. I was at a hotel right across from the Austin airport, Quality Inn, I think. Not bad. I had a very nice continental. Not, it wasn't even a continental. It was a full breakfast with eggs and sausage and everything. I was there about a week or so, and I liked it. But I didn't have a car, so I was always dependent on my kids picking me up, and my son was working at the airport, which was right across the way. So sometimes I would forego the breakfast there to go to breakfast with him at Denny's or something, because it was more important that I could have snuck him into the free breakfast, but he wanted to go to Denny's, and I ate at a really good Denny's in Texas. I remember, you know. The Ten Commandments, says Shell. Yes, Mr. Charlton Heston. Um, Not a Ben-Hur guy, not really. My favorite Charlton Heston movie. Um, well, certainly his portrayal as Moses was right up there, wasn't it? I like The Omega Man with Charlton Heston. Last Man on Earth. The strangest movie he was in was the strangest movie Jane Fonda ever did. Jane Fonda, and what the heck is that called? The movie where you see more of Charlton Heston than you necessarily wanted to see, and quite a bit of Jane Fonda. I'll tell you what. I wasn't complaining about that. I know she's a communist, right? Don't even mention her. Somebody will say that. So I might as well say it. Oh, can I put on my other specs? So, welcome 84 people. Please subscribe and like. Um, if you like, hit the notification bell. Sometimes we do they're still talking about this Alaskan plane. My goodness. I mean, it goes to show you that, they only cover a select amount of stories. I mean, to be almost half an hour in and they're still talking about that, it's not that big of a story, is it? Unless this is another incident and I missed it. Jack, does your son, where he lives, say that illegal immigrants are overwhelming his town? No, he definitely wouldn't say that to me. My son is not a conservative, um, but he's not a progressive either. He's more of an old school Democrat, I guess you could say, even though he's in his mid 30s. But see, he's never there, Richard, because he's a trucker, and where he lives is way on the outskirts, not Austin, but way on the outskirts. So he wouldn't have that experience where he lives, and he's only there like weekends. He's only there for about 48 hours, and he's back in that truck. He says it's a struggle every time he gets in that truck. He usually on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. That's when we talk, and he's always down. And I got to try to bring him up, because he's got those steadily depressing, low down, messing, getting back in the 18-wheeler blues. It's a variation on a Jim Croce song, "Working at the Car Wash Blues." King Creole is the favorite Elvis movie from Dennis from Boston. I don't have a favorite Elvis movie. I'm honest about that. Um, but Richard, in one of our live shows, not Richard, Michael from London, England, reviewed his favorite Elvis movies, and that's a good show. You can find that here. I hope I put that in the title. Otherwise, it'll be like you're looking for a needle in a haystack. I bet you Michael knows the title, and he can remind me so I can tell you. My favorite movie is "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World." That's a funny thing you should say that. It had all the big stars at the time in it. Yes, Phil Silvers, and that's the first name that came to mind. Plus, at the end, they they had the Three Stooges together for the final time on screen. Now, what was the name they called for that special effect, Stephen? Because at the time, that was the cat's meow. It's a mad, mad world, and they say in something, which what all they did, like say if they were going to show a scene on the roller coaster, they would have the camera at the front of the roller coaster. So when you saw it, and that was part of the movie, when you saw it, you actually felt as you sat in your theater seat that you were on the roller coaster going for this ride. That was a new big technique and It's a Mad, Mad World. Was one of the, if not the first movie to do it quite like they did it. That's how I remember that. Here's someone new, Edna Richardson. Hi. Um, Kissing Cousins. We're talking about an Elvis movie, definitely, right? Wallace Weddington says my favorite movie was To Hell and Back. Now I don't know if I've ever seen any of that, Wallace, but my son told me to see the movie Bernie. I'm not talking about Weekend at Bernie's, but there's a movie called Bernie, which he said is really, really good. And I've got to check that out. Yeah, many stars in a mad, mad world. Who were the cute blondes? I can't remember, Richard. Pam Purdy joins us. Kissing Cousins is good. Hey, by the way, kiss a beautiful brunette, or even a girl next door, brunette or blonde is fine. I never, I don't know why I'm saying this, but I never was drawn to Hugh Hefner's idea of beauty necessarily, although he had some beautiful women. The girl next door is always more interesting. Robin Roman. Favorite Elvis movie is Blue Hawaii. He also proposed to his leading lady, Joan Blackman. Now, see, I don't know who she is. and she turned him down. Hey, you remind me of something that happened. Did you see that clip about a week ago? I don't know. I think they were in France, and it's a big thing. This guy has got the ring, and he's going to propose to this woman he's been dating for a while, and she turns him down. You have to do it, right? You can't say yes because you know it's going to be devastating because it's being filmed and stuff. You can't go for a Kodak moment if you don't feel it. And I have a feeling she wasn't all that special, so he probably did all right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that to be true. Blazing Saddles, great movie. Shelley, campaign manager for Donald Trump, but in the country of Canada. Hi, Edna. How are you? Where are you from? Were you watching us? Is this your first time watching the live show? Have you seen any of our pre-recorded videos on Bob Joyce, or there are other topics? I may be a one-trick pony, but that's because I may be a one-trick pony, but that's because you have made me that. And I say I'd rather have be a one-hit wonder than never have a hit at all. You know. I'm trying to think of some of the great one hit wonders in songs. Somebody give me some people that only had one hit. Because I know them all, but when I try to, bring them to the forefront of my medulla and cerebellum, quoting Curtis Leewell right now, my medullum and cerebellum, it doesn't always work. You are in Florida. Oh, just make me jealous. We got so many people here from Florida. I was down in Port St. Lucie last March. Yes, I was, and I loved it. I saw Jimmy Sturr, the Polka King. He'll be back there the first Saturday or Sunday in March. He'll be in Tampa, Florida at the Polish Club there. If you don't know who Jimmy Sturr is, he lives 7 miles from me. I saw him when I was first 14 years old. He's in his early 80s now, if he doesn't mind me saying, but he looks like he's like 65, and he's got a great orchestra that does everything from country, polka, of course. He's the polka king, and he'll have Chris Caffrey from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra rocking and rolling. So if you're anywhere near Tampa, this is like the first weekend in March, or Port St. Lucie, or the Strawberry Festival in Plant City. Jimmy Sturr always opens up the Strawberry Festival in Plant City at like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday. So he works Thursday, then he goes to Tampa for the Polish Club, then Saturday, I think it's Saturday, could be Saturday, Sunday, this lineup for the Polish clubs. Goes to Port St. Lucie to finish off. That's his little Florida tour, But he's doing that cruise. Going to leave from Fort Lauderdale. Is it next Saturday they leave? I've never done a Jimmy Sturr cruise. It's past my budget. I go to Polka Weekend, but that's too expensive. My favorite biblical movie is Jesus of Nazareth. I saw that, I'm sure. And there's a part 2 to this coming, folks. I hear sounds coming from my ceiling, and that's an addict. That's an attic, not an addict. Patty with an eye says Jeannie C. Riley also said said that Elvis is still alive. That's right, Patty with an eye. She said it from the stage. She said, I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but Elvis is still alive. I know people that talk to him all the time. And that's what Priscilla accidentally said. Was it on the Oprah show? Just the other day, she said, Elvis said, and then, oh, shoot, she caught herself, and I can't remember how she finished it. Well, he's always with me. I'm sure it was like that. He's always with me in my thoughts and all that, things that make you go, I liked my favorite Jesus movie. Certainly we know the great actor. I hate when I can't think of Jim Caviezel was fantastic as Jesus. It's always good when a real born again Christian plays Jesus, right? Supposedly Jim Caviezel said, "Oh, you want me to do this movie here? Oh, interesting part. Who's the co-star? Robert De Niro. No, not interested. Not interested in working with him. He's an ungodly fool. I'm not interested in working with him. And several stars, I believe. Another major star is refusing to work with Robert De Niro because they think as a human being, some of the things he says, they just don't have any respect for him. And he is one of our most beloved actors, and I have loved many Robert De Niro movies, but I don't have any respect for him either. And he lives right up the block. Well, not up the block. He has a home. I bet you he's not there now, but he has a home in Gardner, New York. It's way off the road, and there's gates and everything, and he has a helicopter pad, and all that. And he's been seen in Gardner and other places in that area. So he does have a home that's about 40 minutes from me, something like that. What are you saying, Lana? Lana Die. I have lost respect for Robert De Niro as well. Yeah, I have too. For a long time, he wouldn't say much. He'd go on a talk show, and he was a terrible interview. One time, he went on with Dustin Hoffman, who, of course, is a great interview. He went on Letterman together, and Dustin was having to do all the talk. So he would ask Letterman would ask Robert a question, and he would give a one-word answer, and Dustin Hoffman would say, "It's okay. I am the De Niro whisperer. I am the De Niro whisperer." Obviously, Dustin Hoffman is a great interview and one of our legendary actors who I don't think puts his politics out there too much. During my Dark Shadows show tonight, Grandma Edith died. Oh, yes. What a wonderful actress. This is my first convert that I know of for sure, folks. She took my advice. I've had several wives that never took my advice. Karen doesn't take my advice. She does what she wants to do and sometimes gets in trouble for it. Just saying, Karen. Um, but yes, Grandma Edith died. That later will be played in her youth by the woman that's now playing Beth. Um, I'm not sure what part of the storyline, but somebody's hitting that could be you hitting the hearts. Um, Very tall actress whose name is right on the tip of my tongue. Good night, everyone. I'm still sick. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Brenda. I'll keep you in prayer tonight, and we're keeping Deborah Lake in prayer. Everyone have a good week. Jack, Karen, have a good night too. Well, God bless you. Thanks for dropping by. You're one of our most faithful people here, and I appreciate that so much. Um, yeah, Edith died and told Barnabas the secret. Yes, yes, I remember. I remember that. Uh, and I know just what she said. She knew who the secret was, and she told Barnabas. I don't think it'll hurt to say, she said, "You're the secret." Start with episode 210 if you decide to watch Dark Shadows on Prime Video or Tubi or even Pluto. I've never tried it on Pluto. Um, but start with episode 210. That's the first Barnabas episode. And then when you get through to episode 1135 or whatever, that's when it all ended. 1135, 45. Then watch the first uh, the first 209 episodes. You'll appreciate them more. If you start with episode 1, it may not be as good for you because the show got really good when Barnabas came in. And so we're getting to the point with our Dark Shadows because we're watching it for the 4th time around, Judy Wright. I know people can't understand that, where you would watch on a number of times during the week. 3 or 4 episodes of a show that's over 57 years old, but it's that good. And when we do see someone like Catherine Lee Scott, who we've seen twice at Lyndhurst Mansion, it's so special. It's so special. I held the door for Catherine Lee Scott, Judy, right? I want you to know this. She went potty. She did. She first of all, she was in the room that we were all going to go into, and this was the second year in a row we were going to see her at Lyndhurst Mansion. It's usually a Halloween weekend or the week before. This was Halloween weekend. And so she was in the room, and we knew that she was. And Karen was standing right here. All of a sudden, the door opens, and standing like 2 feet away from Karen is Catherine Lee Scott, who played Maggie Evans, Josette Dupre, Rachel Drummond, and other characters. And she's right there, and she's got this big smile, and the look on Karen's face. I wish I had the camera ready. It was such a look of awe. It was such a look of love on Karen's face for Catherine, and I felt the same way. But she was looking at me, and and Karen just says, like a little schoolgirl, "Oh, hi." And she had seen her the year before and taken a picture with her. But it was just so wonderful. It was just so wonderful. So then there was only a few of us because there was a whole bunch of people coming in, but we had gotten there early, and so they let us come and sit down, and Catherine is sitting at a table. And so it's really we had private FaceTime for like 7 minutes with Catherine Lee Scott. So she looks at me and says, "So, besides watching Dark Shadows, what else do you do? Like, do you have any kind of a life?" I always wonder that about these Dark Shadows fans. Do you have any kind of a life? I said, "Well, I have a YouTube channel." And we travel. I try to make myself sound somewhat important. And she talked to Karen, wonderful woman, wonderful, wonderful woman. The year before, I met her husband. Well, I guess they're not married. She was married twice. But this guy, he used to work for CBS. He used to write for the Bloomberg News and what have you. And he writes some mystery novels, spy novels. And I had a long chat with him talking about what he does. And Catherine, I said, you should write something that could be turned into a movie for Catherine. He said, "Well, I don't know if I know how to write her." But they were just in Italy. They go all over the place. Catherine Lee Scott just turned 82 years old. Just turned 82. So I'm gushing about um, Catherine Lee Scott, and I'm so happy, Judy, that you took my advice. Stephen Spielich says, "Good night, Brenda." Yes. I guess why I like the movie To Hell and Back is that I am a Vietnam veteran. Well, God bless you. Thank you so much for your service. I'm sorry for the way you were treated when you came back, potentially. I know some Vietnam veterans, and I'm so appreciative. I can say, Wallace, you're a better man than me for having served. I always said that it's not that I was against helping out, but I'm just not the type that's going to do well in boot camp or in war. But it would have been fine for me to go over there and cook your breakfast and cook your lunch and dinner, whatever I could do, because you guys are the best. Um, Greatest TV for me, Ted Richards says, is between the original Jack Lord Hawaii Five O and Sopranos. Well, that's certainly different. I watched a lot of Jack Lord and the rest of the cast. Bookham Dano, that guy. I liked those shows back then. I think my favorite was Mannix, though. I really loved Mannix. And wouldn't you know, they had it on that Meat TV. And I was watching at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was watching an old Mannix show, and it held up. It was still very interesting. Mike Connors was great as Mannix. Heather is giving medical advice now. She will talk on any number of ailments. If you have a rash, Heather knows what to do about it. Just ask her in real time or in the replay. Heather, Heather, Heather. Cloves kill anything. Huh. So did Jeffrey Dahmer. He wasn't particular, you know. He was equal opportunity. Now, Dexter only killed the baddies, not the goodies. He killed the baddies. So seemed like it was totally justifiable, every Dexter killing. It was his dark passenger, His dark passenger made him do it. Scott Baker, hello. Um, 79 watching right now. Scott Baker, researcher, matching Elvis songs, voice very close to a preacher in Arkansas. Really? This what is this? Some preacher that preaches at the First Church of the Nazarene or something in Benton? Uh, Winona and Lisa Marie do. I hate when those hearts get in my way. How do I move those hearts? I don't know. Do something. See, that heart's got to be moved. Move that heart, please. Can you move your heart? Um, and now, okay. Naomi's here. Where are you, Naomi? Naomi. All right. See, what's going to happen, especially when I go to the computer, is I'm going to miss a few good comments and I'm going to miss a few names, and I don't like to do that, you know. Naomi, we know who Naomi is, right? Miss Wright, Julie. Naomi was in the period of 1795 on Dark Shadows. Did you see 1795? Jonathan Frid would say that was Dark Shadows at its very, very best. When they go back in time to see how Barnabas became a vampire, and we meet Angelique for the first time. The late, great Lara Parker, who passed away not that many weeks ago of cancer, and she lived to like 84 years old. The sponge candy I put under my pillow as a child, I found that like it turned to glue, huh? The day after. So you remember that sponge candy, huh? So many years ago. That's right, Judy Wright, the first mistress of Collingwood. And we know how it ended for her. We know how it ended. Um, Winona also said in an interview that she always wondered why Elvis's clothes were under her bed. Ooh, that's interesting. Let's call the National Enquirer on that one. Isn't that interesting? Well, Mom couldn't have done anything like that, could she? Mom being born again Christian and all, you know. Can you imagine All in the Family being on today? The liberals would lose their mind. That's right, Richard, because they're not liberals. They're progressives slash communists, many of them. Oh, my goodness. I'm not going to do 3 minutes of politics quite yet because I have a feeling it's not quite the atmosphere yet. But there were some amusing pictures. Um, I think Will Kane had him up. He was filling in for Laura Ingram. And pictures, I didn't even realize this, you know. Jean Pierre, press secretary to the president, Jean Pierre, to me is the biggest joke. She lies, lies, lies all the time. Uh, when Kevin Spacey said we need to put adults back in the room, he must have been thinking as her as the inspiration, one of the top inspiration, because she's a kid trying to be an adult. And I didn't realize this, but Admiral John Kirby, who I have in the past looked upon with great respect, and I still try to respect him. But when I see him BSing about Biden, I'm sorry. I know you want to keep your job. I know you love your job and you don't want to lose it. But he, of course, is involved with the Pentagon, but he's been showing up at the White House briefings. In fact, there's in the last number of weeks, 8 weeks or whatever, there's only been one time when they let Jean Pierre out there alone. So he shares a good part of the briefing, and she doesn't go sit down like Kayleigh McEnany would have done when, say, Fauci was out there rambling on or whatever. She stands pretty close to him and she calls on the next reporter. That's such BS. He doesn't need her doing that. He can call, he knows all their names, you know. She stands, and the look on her face is one of total disgust. This is my job. This is my job. And they better not take it away from me being a black lesbian woman. I will scream racist, 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 that Joe Biden is the Antichrist. And here's some things about him you didn't know. She'll be on MSNBC, just like the other one. Psaki, somebody calls her that. Saki, I get it. Um, but you can't fire somebody like that without them claiming racist, racist, racist. And as I have said a million times, the person yelling racist, 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 so many of the times is the real racist in the room. And there's so many of them. MAGA Republicans, as a rule, do not hate black people. They didn't like what Barack Obama stood for. I like some of the things he stood for. I felt, kind of sentimental the night he was elected president. I didn't know too much about him then, but, he would disappoint me during his time as president. But he was certainly better than Joe Biden, but yeah, I understand there's a lot of stuff about Obama that is bad, 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 bad. And he sold out values that he claimed to have. So it was just, if you get a chance to see those pictures of the expression on Jean-Pierre's face when the former Admiral Kirby is talking, it's classic. It's classic. And if Saturday Night Live hadn't sold out, they'd do a skit on it. You're a Trumper, Edna? Well, Shell loves you and will probably invite you to come to Canada. And she would certainly have you, Chantel, I'm sure. But yeah, she is, and you are. I saw some of his speech from yesterday on YouTube. I don't have Newsmax right now. I don't feel like paying for it because the only one last time I said Rob Schneider again. I think it's Rob Schmidt. I love Rob Schmidt on Newsmax, and Eric Bolling's okay. But they're not, neither one of them are Tucker. Although I'll tell you, Rob Schmidt is really good. He really is good. He's on Newsmax. We elected a black president, says Richard. Well, he was really mixed race, wasn't he? Barack Obama's mom was white as the driven snow, and his father was black. So he is a Milano, he's not really an Afro-American, not really. But certainly a great speaker, great voice. And he and his wife, Michael, are, just fine. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I'll slap myself for that one. Lana, maybe Jean-Pierre, yes, I'm sorry. Maybe Jean-Pierre is about to be ousted. Yeah, there's talk about that, Lana, because Biden really likes Kirby. I like him too, but what the heck are you doing representing Joe Biden? Don't you have to leave the podium sometimes and go and puke? Because you're so much better than this Admiral Kirby. I have loved you, and now you're letting me down. Especially your explanation of things of the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Oh man, don't try to put a dress on this pig and say that it's a Kelly Clarkson, for goodness sakes. We know it's not. And by the way, I just realized that could be inferred. Kelly is looking beautiful. She's lost a ton of weight, but when she was heavier last season, she still looked beautiful to me. So I kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what they say in Mexico? They say, bone is for the dog, meat is for the man. Yeah, baby. Kirby's explanation of the Chinese spy balloon, yeah, you said spy balloon, that's funny, was very weak as well. You are absolutely right. This is what he does. This is, they say that Trump made people do this. Biden makes a lot of people do this. And here comes 3 minutes of politics right now, all about Joe Biden, who had his campaign kickoff just a few days ago at 3:15 in the afternoon because he's got to go home and go to bed. His campaign kickoff talking about us terrible MAGA people. Now, I'm not really a MAGA person. I love Trump. I also see all the flaws of Trump, but I would definitely vote for him for president. He did some great work when he was president, which is like the strange thing. He says some things that you wish he would put a different way. He gives them red meat and all that, but he did some really good things as president. I would certainly want him over Nikki Haley. I'd have to hold my nose to vote for Nikki Haley. I hope I don't have to do that. I would rather Ron DeSantis though over Nikki Haley any day. I guess it's not looking good now for Vivek. He thinks he's going to do good in Iowa, but he's not even going to be in the final presidential debate. I guess it's the final, right? And Chris Christie, it's time to open that golden corral you always wanted to open. Go on and get, as Jimmy Fallon would say. Worst host of the Tonight Show ever in terms of an interviewer, but a fun guy. Go on and get. So Joe Biden, yeah, he's a champion for democracy, people. That's what he told us. Let's see what has Joe Biden brought us besides a very disgusting withdrawal, embarrassing withdrawal in Afghanistan. He's trying to force electric cars on people who don't want them. It will lead us to power grids going down all over America, huge lines at expensive charging stations. Imagine have to wait an hour and 15 minutes to charge your car because there's so many in front of you. You'll break down on the highway, you'll break down on your local streets because you ran out of juice. And there you'll be waiting for a tow truck, I suppose. And the tow truck will have to be electric, so it'll break down too. He has sent the stock market into wild fluctuation. Now, there was rebound in 2023, but not for the little guy like me on Robinhood. No, it's very hard if you're a little guy to make money. There is opportunities. It depends how much capital you have. But if you're not a day trader, it's not very easy at all. And he ruined crypto for the little guy, put so much regulation on there. He is all about big government and, of course, spending us into oblivion. He's not about democracy. He's a big supporter of destroying women's sports, making it so that women lose against a biological man, have no privacy in the locker room. Here's some guy coming in, and he's so thrilled to be in there, exposing himself and seeing what he can see while he's in there. And then this can happen at your local YMCA. It can happen, at your local gym where your 16-year-old daughter can be changing. And here comes some guy who feels like he's a woman that's going to invade that space and just have himself a time. He'll be home, and you know what he'll be doing late night after that experience. Ba, 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 ba. He's for Mr. Catholic. Give me a break. He's no more a Catholic than I am a Rastafarian. Although I think I would look nice with that hairdo. I'd be willing to get the wig. He's not a Catholic. He shouldn't be receiving communion. He's for late-term abortion all the way up until the moment of pregnancy. He is for committing unspeakable, deforming, irreversible surgery on immature, impressionable young children who may wish they had never done it, like a week after. They saw it on TikTok, they saw it on Facebook, they changed their mind too late. He is for a young girl having her breast cut off because that's her current whim. Like maybe she wants to be, maybe a boy wants to be a cowboy, and the next week he wants to be an astronaut. They have not reached the age of maturity. If they want to do that at age 18, well, then okay, but people shouldn't have to pay for it, He declared war on fossil fuels when he was running for president, which sent us into a tailspin. He is a proponent of banning gas stoves. Kathy Hochul is doing that for the future here in the state of New York. He hires and supports totally unqualified cabinet members who hurt America very badly. He makes us look like a jerk all around the world. They know that he was weak. That's why Putin did what he did with the Ukraine. The Ukraine war would have never happened. All that death and all that destruction if Trump had won a second term. He's hot and cold with support for Israel, which I think is a totally different ball game. I don't support the war in Ukraine, but I certainly unequivocally support aiding Israel. Just it's fair to say to Israel, please be careful where you're bombing. You can't be blowing up children in Gaza. They're on the ground there now, so they should have a better idea of what to do and where not to do it. But of course, Hamas is so diabolical. They use children as human shields. They put their weapons in the hospital, etc., etc. Before he won the presidency, he said, if elected, immigrants should surge the border because that's who we are. They took him up on it, and now we have chaos in so many states. Nowhere to put these people. They're coming from many different countries. Joe Biden did that. He destroyed the border. It's all his fault. It's all his fault. He was the inspiration for it. He raised the debt by trillions, and it keeps on going, wasting over 200 billion in the Ukraine, and it's a bombed out shell. You can't win a war against Vladimir Putin. He's made America a joke around the world. And even more than that, it looks like the President of the United States may be involved in influence peddling concerning his son, Hunter Biden. Hunter was on the payroll in the Ukraine. So, of course, we're bending over backwards. And also in China. He couldn't run a Wendy's, but he was on the board being an advisor because of who his father was at the time, the vice president of the United States. Classified documents, even when he was a senator, when he was vice president, and they want to crucify Trump. Trump said he classed as the president, not the vice president. He declassified those documents. So it's a mess, but all I can say is Joe Biden is no defender of democracy. What he supports and the progressives that surround him support a form of communism, but without the Ayatollah that'll tell them, no, you can't have your lifestyle. You can't follow these. You have to follow these rules and wear a covering over your head and stuff. So what can I tell you? Um, we absolutely need to have a different president in 2024. Um, as Governor DeSantis says, we're not going to get a mulligan. It may be our last chance to at least stop the bleeding for a while. But I think in the end, things are going to get really, really bad. And it could happen this year because that's what the Bible says will happen. And the Bible's never wrong. Good night, Deborah. We'll keep praying for you. Thank you so much. Jack, you are correct on all points on Biden. It just makes me sick to my stomach, Alana. The worst president in my lifetime. I don't have to think about it. The worst, dumbest. Barack Obama said, you know what he said? Never underestimate the power of Joe Biden to F things up. He only put him on the ticket himself is because he knew he would be very instrumental in getting votes. Middle class Joe found out he's not so middle class. He's got these expensive beach homes everywhere, which he would never have been able to get on the salary. He's never written a big selling book or anything. He was known as being one of the more stupid members of the Senate. That's what they said about him. Oh, boy. But look at the people here in America that voted him in, just like the governor of Ohio. Man looks like a total dweeb who wants to cut off the breasts of young children. And how did that man become governor? And there's a lot of governors we could say that about. Bob Joyce said in one of his Sunday services that he is writing a book. Really? He said it in the service. Can anybody else say that they heard that? In many volumes, I have heard that it won't be released until after he is gone, literally gone, like no pulse. I don't think they mean, although they, he could make. I think he's getting close to the end of serving at Household of Faith. That's my gut feeling. He's giving hints all the time. Last week, he sang a little bit of the Hawaiian love song, right, on the December 31st sermon. 66 watching right now. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. A lot of people have. Uh, Hit the notification bell and watch for our pre-recorded videos. We'll do the next video will be the full story of this guy's experience with his wife at Household of Faith, which will be released Sunday afternoon, the 7th. If you're watching the replay, it may be way past that. So just check it out. Check it out. I'm very happy to say that our latest video, 15-minute video, many people feel many people feel Bob Joyce called himself Elvis. That's from the March 26th sermon, about 23 minutes and 16 seconds in, something like that. Um, so that's cool. And we have more than a dozen videos on Pastor Bob Joyce here, and they still do well. Yeah, I wish you could give me the name of the sermon, the date or something, Richard, because this is the first I'm ever hearing that he said that. I know people have said that he's writing a book, but that he said it from the pulpit, I was not aware of that. You're making a trip there, Robin Roman? Hello, Robin Roman. After my older cat expires, yeah, we had a really old cat named Hazel, lived to like 26 years old. Hazel is now ashes, and on our coffee table says Hazel and everything. We loved Hazel. She was really cool. Her husband was Herb, who I was almost as old as her when he passed away. He passed away before her. But that Herb was a rascal. Herb, the cat, was a rascal. He was cheating on Hazel right in front of her on the couch with Bella, the cat. With Bella right in front of her. Make it out with Bella. I swear. And Herb Gypsy could actually say the word in his old age. Yeah. Sounded just like it. Couldn't meow anymore. But Jack, are you going to get controversial? I truly believe Obama is in his ear. Oh, yes, I agree. So Obama is more diabolical now than he was as president. Or we could say it another way. We could say he's revealed himself more, because you would think Obama would see. And Jose Feliciano could see that Joe Biden is destroying the United States of America, in my humble opinion. And he would want to try to give him some advice that could change course. Because after all, he has to see the polls. He has to see how unpopular Biden is. And nobody wants Kamala Harris. So I agree with you 100% there, Richard. No argument there. We're an hour and 37 minutes in. Time flies when you're having fun with the radio family. This is Worldwide Ramblings. Hello to you watching in the replay. As soon as we finish this broadcast, every time here in the live stream, it is immediately available for broadcast. If you missed the beginning, you can watch that. These live shows are really good for my watch time hours. Thank you very much. We are now over 5,000 subscribers. I appreciate that very much. Join the party here. And, December was our most successful month ever in all ways. And I appreciate that. And I need it, to be honest with you, because I don't do that little part-time gig at the car dealership anymore. So I need that. As much as I would like to find another magic topic, people love this topic, and it leads into other things. And that's just the way it is. So let's see, one-hit wonder songs. Who only had one hit? There's so many of them. Why can't I think of a single one right now? That is weird. I'm a disc jockey. I know this. I could write down 20, 30 of one hit wonders. Well, that group, Alive and Kicking, Alive and Kicking did Tighter and Tighter. Hold on just a little bit tighter now, baby. I love you so much and I can't let go. No, 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 baby. You know that song? Great song. They tried so many times to follow that up. I think I could find it on Spotify, but I can't play these songs because I don't have a music license to play them. But they tried like 10, 15 times to follow up that song, and they are a one hit wonder. They just couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. Um, what what is a wow, Lana? Lana, was that the name of the woman that Phil Spector killed? I'm trying to remember her name. You know, the gun accidentally went off and shot her at his mansion. Phil Spector was you know what, crazy. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Judy Wright, The Ides of March. There's a perfect example, Judy. And who did they rip off, Judy Wright? What famous group that's had like 25 or 30 hits did Ides of March rip off? It's almost like it was the same group and they just call themselves Ides of March for I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you want to go. I'm your vehicle, baby. I love you. Something. What got to have you, baby. Great God in heaven, I love you. Never said I was a singer, never did. I'm a DJ who plays the songs on the radio. Kung Fu Fighting. Here we come now. Yeah. Carl Douglas, everybody was kung fu fighting. Those cats were fast as lightning. And it was a little bit frightening, don't you think, Robin? It was a little bit frightening. Um, but Ides of March, yeah, that was a great one. You see, if you're only going to have one song, you want to make it a great song. You don't want to make it Clint Holmes' Playground in My Mind is your only hit record. In the playground in my mind, and a bunch of kids saying, my name is Susie, I got a nickel. Oh, God. Being a DJ and having to play that song made me want to puke. It made me want to puke, and I'm not even from Dubuque. Well, here's Kathleen Whataburger, as I like to call her. The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Interesting you should say that. Now, which version? The Tokens version? Because they had more than one hit. Or Robert John? Is that the one you're going for? Tell me which one, Kathleen Whataburger, because I'll prove you wrong no matter which choice you make. The Tokens. Well, hey, how's this? Come on and see us this summer, Kathleen. It's time you make a trip to the Hudson Valley. I want you to come to Summerfest on July. It's somewhere in the middle of July. It's a Sunday, the 16th of July, I want to say, at the Polish Club. Oh, those ladies cook up the most delicious Polish food and those desserts, that chocolate cream pie. Sorry, Mr. Mike. Chocolate cream pie and carrot cake and all that. Jimmy Sturr and the orchestra, Chris Caffrey from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and special guest. And this has never happened before at a Summerfest at the Polish Club. It's outside. They got a real nice area outside. Rain or shine, it's well covered. Jay Siegel and the Tokens. Jay Siegel is the original voice who did The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Now, I can't tell you that I can rattle off the other Tokens songs, but I have seen them perform them and I recognize them. So I think they had a few other hits, but The Lion Sleeps Tonight, and he always talks about it when he sings, before he sings it. He says, he talks about the range in that song. And he says, well, if I can't do it, you're going to feel cheated, right? And then he sings The Lion Sleeps Tonight and he hits those notes. Which is really, really cool. So come on down to Summerfest in Pine Island, New York, Be really cool. Be really cool. But Robert John did the remake in the 70s, and Robert John had a few hits, didn't he? Did he do Sad Eyes? Sad Eyes. Dun, dun, dun. Can't remember the lyrics. Tainted Love by Soft Cell. That's another one. Lana Die. Yes, isn't that a great song? Again, if you're only going to have one song, first I ran to you, now I run from you. Your tainted love is whatever. I'm trying to remember the lyrics. The B-52's Rock Lobster, right? Is that what Wallace was talking about? I like the song. You know the one. Yeah, Rock Lobster, I think is what you're talking about. Brenda Sage checks in with yes. See, you're picking the really great ones. Spirit in the Sky. Talk about one hit that that has lasted, you know. You wouldn't hear it on today's pop radio, but oldie stations, that was one of their go-to records. They forgot about a lot of 60s songs and stopped playing the 50s songs, which is a shame, but they always played Spirit in the Sky. The stupidest lyric in that song, which was later corrected by a Christian group that did the same song. I've never been a sinner. I never sin. I've got a friend in Jesus. So a Christian group, because I used to play contemporary Christian music for a number of years, from like 1990 to 2001 on like Christian Network, they did that song and they changed the lyric to, I've always been a sinner. I always sin, but I've got a friend in Jesus. And that's the way it should have been, you know. I've never met a non-sinner. Some of the ones that think they may be, woo, doggy, woo, doggy. Jed Clampett used to say that. Or was it whale doggy? I don't remember. But I know the Cement Pond, was the Cement Pond real? Because the background behind it was just a picture. The hills of Beverly Hills. That was a picture. I guess they actually put a real pool in, though. Susan Carter, Rockin' Robin by Bobby Day. Really? Was that the only? See, I don't know. It feels like that's not true, that Bobby Day had another song, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And I know everybody knows who brought that song back in the 80s, right? Or was it the 70s? I think it was the 80s. They had a lot of hits, Richard, the B-52s. Yeah, I was starting to get away from listening to the pop hits. Anything after 1988, I don't know. I'm only semi-expert from like 1968 to 19. Of course, I listened to the early Beatles stuff, and I know quite a bit of the early 60s too. But after 88, I stopped listening. I mean, after the Greg Kinn band was singing Jeopardy and great songs like Steppin' Out from Joe Jackson, I could hear that song every day for the rest of my life. Gloria! You know, Stefan, I've often wondered, she died of an aneurysm of the brain. Laura Branigan, who, that's not even my favorite Laura Branigan song, but she died of an aneurysm in the brain. And I often wonder if she worsened her condition by singing that song in a concert, you know, because she had to scream that song. She had to scream it. But the Creature of the Night song that Art Bell used, I live amongst the creatures of the night. That song from Laura Branigan is my favorite, and it was Art Bell's favorite. He kind of used it as a theme song. How I miss Art Bell. How I miss Rush Limbaugh. I still miss him all the time. Of course, it was MJ, right, that brought back Rockin' Robin. It must have been 70s because it was it was 70s. It was a young Michael Jackson before his voice changed and he was still black. Well, I didn't mean to say that. You know, he was not like he was in later years. Self-Control, right, Stefan? Isn't that a great song? If you like night songs like I do, Self Control is one of my favorite songs of all times, but Gloria was fantastic. Yeah, what are your favorite songs? What are your favorite songs? We have talked about this before, but it's been a long time. Oh, you're talking about, I don't think it's your favorite song, but you're talking Mike Fortner about the one and only hit from Feelings. Morris Albert? I want to say Morris Albert, not Albert Morris. Morris Albert. Feelings. Nothing more than feelings. Yeah, it was okay song. I mean, it's a lot better than Playground in My Mind, you know? You know what one of the biggest songs of all times is? Of one of the biggest pull your heartstrings songs? Anybody have an idea? One of the biggest songs that when my hair guy, who I don't see here, Vito Yazzo, who sings all the Elvis songs, Vito Yazzo, check out his YouTube channel, Yozzo, Vito Yazzo. Make sure you subscribe and like and mention me so he knows I'm doing good things for him. He has one song that he sang, one heartstring song that is his biggest amount of views by far. If I Could Dream is just a legendary song. Shell, you know it is. Uh, Mama Like the Roses, huh? Yeah, don't know if I've heard that one. It sounds like a heartstring song, though. Had to be, right? That and the Teenage Death songs. House of the Rising Sun. You don't get any better than that, right? Richard Lyon, was that in Easy Rider, that song? I think it was, wasn't it? Yes, yes, yes. Um, Susan says that it's a snowing and a blowing. I'm a picking and I'm a grinning, said Roy Clark. God rest his soul. I loved Roy Clark. I absolutely did. Saw him live here at the Orange County Fairgrounds one time in my life, and he was fantastic. Yesterday when I was young. Oh, what a good song that is. Forgotten oldie, really, but really a great song. Hmm. Yeah, it's heavy snow right here in the Hudson Valley as I speak to you. Right now, as I look down at the bottom of my screen, it says that the snow has become light snow, but I can't verify that. I can't verify that right there. Um, do we have a Laura along with Alana now? Shadley, hi, the Yellow Submarine by the Beatles. You like that one, huh? You like Ringo, do you? I'm a Ringo fan. It Don't Come Easy is one of the greatest pop songs of all time in my book because not only does he sing it well and it's catchy, but it really has a very good message. If you want to have a life, if you want to have something special, um, don't sit at home and sing the blues because it don't come easy. You got to go out there and fight for your passions. You got to make them happen. I kind of did that on here on YouTube somewhat because for a long time in the beginning, all I had was the late Carlton Pearson, who just passed away, who lost his faith in Jesus Christ and the gospel, I would say. I had The Curious Case of Carlton Pearson, which grew to about 4,000 views. And at the time, that was gold to me. I had never had anything that did 350 or 400. And now I had 4,000. So I did a couple of Carlton Pearson videos, of course. But that was way before I found the magic title, the magic name, Bob Joyce. Richard Lyons talking about, I think I know the song, What is Love? I don't recognize the name of the group. That was kind of around the time I was getting ready to check out of pop music. I didn't listen in the 90s at all. I'm not a Creed fan. All I noticed is even in Christian music, a lot of people were starting to try to sound like that guy from Creed, and it got really boring really quick. Oh, Shell. I adored John Denver. I absolutely did. I was devastated when he died. When we were on vacation in California in 1998, we were very near the water where his plane, his experimental plane crashed into. Annie's song, which he wrote for his wife, Annie. I think they were still together when he wrote that. You fill up my senses like a night in the forest. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Midnight at the Oasis, that's a one-hit wonder. Played that on the radio a number of times. I did. Maria Moldauer. Very nice feel, very nice vocal. She really captured the mood of the song. You felt like, you were imagining Midnight at the Oasis. Send your camel to bed, for goodness sakes. It's almost 12:30 in the morning if you're watching live. Send your camel to bed and stay away from those camel smokes, will you? For goodness sakes. Uh, oh, Shelley. Shelley. I thought I thought you weren't that kind of conspiracy person, John Denver. I wish. Rumor has it. Stay away from that rumor mill. They might kidnap you. They might kidnap you when you walk into that rumor mill. Next thing you know, the dog will be eating you for supper. That's how it goes. Um, but yeah, I saw him at Radio City Music Hall. He says the last time I was here, I had a cold. I did the best I could, but I feel like I got to make up for that. Some of you were here for that show. I might stay on a little longer tonight. And, you would see him and the specials that he would do. John Dutchendorf. Um, I remember seeing this one special, which you could find, where he sings this beautiful song, not one of his hits. And there's only about 300 people. It's an intimate setting. And they just, he's thinking about what he's going to do next. And it suddenly occurs to him that they are giving him a standing ovation. I still get emotional thinking about that moment. And he just puts, oh, please, that's okay. And it just gets louder. The love for that man was incredible. I love John Denver. And what's his name? That was Elvis's piano player. Somebody help me with the name. Gene, right? He wrote for John Denver. I think he wrote the song It Amazes Me, if I got the right song. But the man we're talking about, the piano player for Elvis, who some of you confuse with Joe Murphy, the bass player, because he does kind of look like him with the bib overalls. They used to have that when they were in the strip mall. I don't know what happened to Joe Murphy. He's still there or whatever. I don't know. Could pass. I don't know. Don't say that. I don't know. But the guy we're talking about, who was Elvis's piano player for many gigs in the 70s, also wrote the hit song for Gary Lewis and the Playboys, Count Me In, which is one of my favorite Gary Lewis songs, although everyone he did was good. Well, you'll have to send me email with proof, with a lot of, Shelley, I told you not to drink before the program. I've said it. Glenn Harden, thank you. Why am I saying Gene? I don't know. Glenn Harden, yeah. Fantastic guy. And there is that Glenn Harden video that may still be on YouTube where he's got a cigarette in his mouth and he's aging and, a little overweight and all that. But he dresses nicer than Joe Murphy. He's a millionaire many times over. And he's just playing the piano in this video. Have you seen it on YouTube? And someone, I swear the man, it sounds just like Elvis Presley singing, but he's in a dark corner. I wonder who that could have been. And we never see him. And as the song ends, the camera starts to pan towards where this Elvis sound-alike would be. And then the video cuts off. I think I know who that singer was. I really, really do. Nancy Sinatra, the first, how do I want to say that? Is that the first bondage and domination song? These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. I remember the conflict that Marie Osmond went to on the variety show when it was proposed that she sing that song. Now she loved the song, but she's a Mormon, and it's a little risque, that song. But she finally went for it and did a wonderful job singing These Boots Are Made for Walking. Love Nancy Sinatra. Sugar Town, another big hit for her, not as big as the Boots song though. And of course that great duet from 1967 with Francis Albert Sinatra, I know I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend an evening with me. Something stupid. Frank and his daughter Nancy. I can't believe how much I'm singing. I apologize profusely for that. Oh, Shelley, it's a whole different ball of wax. I'm not, just because I believe that there is an excellent chance Bob Joyce is Elvis doesn't mean I'm I can't say the word, conspiratorial inclined. I don't believe JFK is alive. I don't believe Michael Jackson is alive. I don't believe Jim Morrison is alive. Um, I thought the Paul McCartney really died in 1966 story was so fascinating. I have a video up on that here. I wish you'd watch it and like it, as told by the guy who is a Dylan freak, and he named his production studios Highway 61 Revisited. But you'd have to show me a lot of convincing evidence before I would ever think about that, because John was reckless and he was very depressed at that time in his life. He had been unlucky at love, and the side of John that we didn't see on camera is he could drink and be difficult. He could perhaps do some substances and be difficult. That's what Annie would say. And he was dealing with the fact that he no longer had a recording contract. He made a ton of money for RCA, right? A ton of money, and one day they called him on the phone to say that was it. That was it. And so he was doing this concert, and he say, "I've got this new song. I'd like to release it, but I don't have a recording contract anymore." That was sad. But of course, these days people just release their own stuff. They just release it, and you can have a hit like Jason Aldean proved, even when country music television won't play your song anymore because they don't want to be branded as a right wing country music station. Well, we're gonna hit 2 hours, but there's just such a rhythm going here. 63 people watching, so I'm not gonna quit quite yet, because there seems to be we're in the groove here. Mrs. DJ, or Ms. I'm sorry. Are you talking about Papa John, the mamas and the papas? Somebody was commenting on that, were they? Pastor Bob has very labored breathing sometimes, says Susan Carter. You feel that? You're hearing that, huh? That scares me when I hear it. Yeah, I can understand that. Um, she's talking about John Denver, but John Phillips was right here in the Hudson Valley, down at the Playtog Shopping Center parking lot back in the day, with his daughter Mackenzie Phillips, who wrote a book on Dad. Well, let's see. Here's Mackenzie Phillips, and she's going to do her autobiography. But it's a long time past one day at a time. Who's going to buy the book? But if you put a chapter in there about your father having sex with you on a number of occasions, and say stuff like, so I approached my father and said, "You raped me last night." And he says, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, you mean we made love? You mean we made love?" That was the quote in the book. Put her book in the top 10, it did. And she's on Larry King talking all about it back in the day. So that happened. But it was Spanky. I told this last week, right? Spanky from Spanky and Our Gang was in there playing the Michelle role. And Scott McKenzie, if you're going to San Francisco. So you had Mackenzie Phillips and you had Scott McKenzie in the same Mamas and the Papas group. It was cool. It was really good. Bobby Gentry with the Ode to Billy Joe. The Ode to Billy Joe. Ode to Billy Joe. Yeah. There's some conspiracy there. Whatever happened to Bobby? There's videos about Bobby Gentry that she just disappeared. Nobody could find her. And she just, she tried a couple of albums. She wasn't happy with how they sold and what have you. And she just kind of disappeared, and she was like a recluse and what have you. So there is a story involving Bobby Gentry, the day Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahatchie Bridge. Robbie Benson played Billy. Why did Billy Joe McAllister in the movie that the very handsome Robbie Benson starred in, why did he jump off the Tallahatchie Bridge? I wish I had a prize to give someone that could come up with that. Somebody might know it out there, out of the 67 watching or in the replay crowd. You loved Robbie Benson, huh? He was a good-looking chap, wasn't he? I'm not. I'm secure enough in my sexuality to say certain men are just really handsome, like Brad Pitt, and of course Donny Osmond, Sean Cassidy, you name it. I mean, some very handsome dudes that kept their popularity for a long time as teen idols. They did. Anybody remember Bobby Sherman? He's still with us. Julie, 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 do you love me? Ted talking about the Bobby Fuller 4. Well, that was an episode of Forensic Files, Ted. And I think we learned that he was murdered and buried. If I got it was somebody that he had really pissed off. And I always confuse him with the guy who sang that song, The Cheater, in the 50s, because that was also an episode of the Forensic Files. I think it was that guy that was buried in the planter in the front yard, the cistern, do they say? But Bobby Fuller was killed by somebody that he had really ticked off. I can vaguely remember that episode of Forensic Files. Try to find it and you'll enjoy it. The Bobby Fuller 4 one-hit wonder. I fought the law and the law won. Yeah. Billy Jack, One Tin Soldier. Oh, I remember seeing that movie as a little boy in the theater, and I just loved it. I don't know. I was feeling these emotions. I don't know. I didn't know what to do with them. Should I be that kind of person like Billy Jack? I thought people really respected him. I can't remember too much about the actor. But who was the female who did such a wonderful vocal on that? Go ahead and hate your neighbor. Go ahead and hate a friend. Da, da, da. Do it in the name of Jesus. You can justify it in the end. and then justify it in the end. I had a crush on Mickey of the Monkees. Yes, Mickey Dolenz was right here in Sugarloaf recently. I've seen Mickey live a number of times. One time with his sister Coco. With his Coco. I saw him with the Monkees at the Orange County Fair. I don't think Peter Tork was there, but I'm not sure he wasn't, because this was in the 80s, Peter would come sometimes, he wouldn't come other times. I'm not sure. But I'm going to say all four of the Monkees were at the Orange County Fair, and they were fantastic. You had a crush on Mickey Dolenz's daughter. Well, I only know Mickey Dolenz's sister, Coco. I don't know his daughter. Want to talk about crushes? We'll be here forever, because I had a million of them. I bet some of you did too. I mean, I bet you there's some people out there that love John Stamos. I'm just going to guess. People love John Stamos. My goodness. That guy got an extra portion of good looking, and at 60 years old, he still looks great. I always wanted that kind of hair. I just did. The brothers Gibb, Ted Richards. Yeah, certainly in terms of the Bee Gees, it was the best looking was the man who's still with us, Barry Gibb, I think, by far. But Andy Gibb was the best looking of all of them, right? Marie Osmond fell in love with Andy Gibb, but he wasn't a Mormon. He had the hots for her. Yes, he did, but I don't think it ever was consummated. If Marie Osmond has a secret, the secret is Andy Gibb. You can take that to the bank. I'm a believer by the Monkees. Take away that Y, it doesn't belong there. Shell from Canada. EES. Yeah, great song. Mickey sang most of the songs, but of course Davey sang Daydream Believer, Valerie. He sang the theme from the Monkees and other songs. But, for many of their hits, like Pleasant Valley Sunday, it's a great song. It was Mickey all the way, Renee. I can't believe we're past 2 hours. Just going to quote a few scriptures when we leave, but yeah, I mean, there have just been some people, but in terms of crushes, my first one was Marlo Thomas in That Girl, and she's in her mid 80s now, as is her husband Phil Donahue. They fell in love during a live taping of the Phil Donahue show. I think I talked about that previously or recently, and but That Girl was my first crush. And then Christy McNichol, big time in Family, the television show. And then there I was in California. You can see my video, Blinded by the Light, starring Christy and Jimmy McNichol. He was a good-looking chap, too, still is. She's still pretty. But she had, she had the depression issue. She was... oh, come on. This is what bothers me when something I know I can't say. So after she did Empty Nest, anybody remember Christy McNichol and Empty Nest? She did a slew of movies. First time I ever saw Dennis Quaid in a movie was he played her brother in The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia, loosely based on the Vicki Lawrence song, and they were both fantastic in it. And she did a film called White Dog, which was so controversial, it was never officially released. The white dog, was racist. He only went after black people in the movie, and they thought this is just too much. But you could find White Dog now, I mean, it wasn't meant to be anything other than the dog had a problem with black people, and the dog happened to be all white. Go figure. So it's tomorrow, which is already today, the 7th, or is it the 8th? That girl, you remember that, Brenda. Wasn't she so cute? Can you admit that? Marla was so cute in that movie, in that TV show. Just adorable. And you'll probably laugh at the episode that sticks out the most in my mind, but this is, you got to remember I'm a guy and all guys are dogs. My favorite theme was when she's got a plumber or someone who's going to be coming to work in the kitchen, but he comes earlier than he's supposed to, and she's in the shower. So she quickly throws on a towel, and you're not seeing anything, by the way. This is 60s television. So she comes to the door wearing a towel to greet the plumber, and something happens to the towel, and she runs away in horror. And the guy, Ted Bessel, was it Ted Bessel who played Ted? Another name. They stretched the dialogue because she was so embarrassed to talk about the plumber. He said, "What's the matter?" What was the character? That girl character? What was her name? I hate when this happens. He said, "It's like this guy saw you naked or something." I thought, well, there's a stretch in the writing that he would come up with that, Oh, the baby boomers. I'm a baby boomer. Well, when you say tomorrow, it is already tomorrow, unless you mean Monday. It's not tomorrow in California yet, though. Happy birthday, Elvis, everybody's saying. Yes, yes. Amen, amen, amen. Love the Carol Burnett show. Shell, I did too. I'll look forward to all the documentation you're going to be sending me, by the way. Yes, Carol Burnett was, still with us. Was just fantastic. Helped out. Oh, hi, Bob. I forgot to say hello to you. Bob, 1974. Happy birthday, Elvis. But of course, Elvis is dead, right? That's what you believe. And welcome, welcome, welcome. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree. It's okay. It's when people get obnoxious about it, people start getting mad, and then that becomes a problem. But even if you're a progressive, you can come here and be with us, and just be respectful. One hip chick. Happy New Year, everyone. Hello, one hip chick. What makes you so hip? Do you still wear bell bottoms? I want bell bottoms to come back. I want bell bottoms to come back. I used to love wearing my bell bottoms. I even had a bell bottom shirt. Now, of course, it couldn't stay a bell bottom on the sleeve. It had to go, had to curve in. But my sleeves were so puffy, so they called them bell bottom shirts. And my bell bottom pants and flares, if I wanted to be more conservative. I just remember Mr. Bowie, the teacher I've referred to before, the substitute teacher, calling me up to class, and I got my bell bottom up to the front of the class, and I got my bell bottom shirt on, and I got my flares on that are tie dyed, so I look like a brown cow, with white spots and brown. And he just looks at me, and the whole class laughs. I remember that happening. He just looked at me like, what is this guy wearing? And I had long hair before most people had it. I just did. And the gym teacher gave me a hard time. Was watching Benny Hill today. That's a real guy show. So funny. Yeah, Karen's father, who's pictured up here, Mr. Robert Reed, that was his name. He was the produce district manager for Grand Union here in New York, New Jersey area. And he loved Benny Hill too. I used to watch a little bit and laugh, but I never really got into it. But yeah, I guess that would be a guy's show. You're right about that. Tom Jones, says Shell. Was that your crush? Yeah, it was Karen's crush too. Definitely loved Tom Jones. And we did see him in 2022 at Foxwoods. He was still fantastic, even though he had to sit down for the show. And then right after he finished his tour in 2022, he went into hospital. He went into hospital to have his second hip replacement. So by the time he hit the stage in 2023, he could dance a little again. He could stand up again. He's still going, still going. Oh, I want to say something about Moonshiners. Um, I love the cast of. Ask you to pray. Those do we have any prayers out there? Anybody believe in the Lord Jesus Christ? We're going to have a few scriptures that talk about change as we close here. I can't believe how long I'm going, but you guys are into it, and that's really cool. Still 56 people watching. Um, the star of Moonshiners, there's really four big stars in this reality show, which finally came back on Discovery. And I'm all excited because I'm sitting there in my recliner, 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. Moonshiners usually starts in October, but they started their 13th season. They waited to January, and not because of the writers' strike, not because of the actors' strike, because they're unscripted and they don't have writers. They just have producers that suggest a lot of things. All reality shows work like that. And so I'm sitting there, and 2 minutes into the show, it's the main characters talking. It's Mark and Digger. Digger is Eric Maines, and from Tennessee. Eric Digger, everybody calls him Digger Maines. And the first words out of his mouth, I'm just sitting there all happy. I love Digger so much. I love Mark so much. They make the show along with Tickle and Tim Smith, but also Josh and Kenny and all the rest of them. I love every one of them. Um, and Mark says, "Well, you always told me you want to hear the bad news first." And my bad news is I've got a rare blood disease, and I may not be around that much longer. It's like, someone just threw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball at my face. I'm all excited. Here's Moonshiners, and Mark, Digger just announces he's dying. And the look on now I know that he already knew this, and they're having to react it for television. I'm not stupid. But, he did a really good job, Mark, because he just recreated those feelings that when he had first heard this. He's got a form of lymphoma, but everybody was freaking out on the Facebook page because, if you don't watch Moonshiners, you don't know what I'm talking about. I've never had a sip of moonshine. It's not anything about my love for moonshine. It's my love for the cast. And Digger had to go on the Facebook because people were literally freaking out and calling Discovery and what can we do and how bad is it really and stuff. And basically, I think what he said, I couldn't find it, is that he has this blood disease, lymphoma, leukemia, but it is not the kind that is likely to kill him. It'll make him feel bad some days, but it's not fatal. And I hope that's true. And I hope he has many good days because you have to know the show and know these guys to know how beloved Eric Digger Maines is. So please pray for him that this is the 13th year he's been doing Moonshiners. They came on poor and now they're all pretty wealthy. And they are just you never get tired of watching them. It's like Dark Shadows. You never get tired of watching them. So please play for Digger Maines from the cast of Moonshiners, if you would. All right. People are still talking, and I don't want to, I don't want to cut. Thank you, Richard. I don't want to cut people off. We're losing Lana Dyke. I'm so appreciative for you that you stopped by. Thank you, everybody that subscribed, if you haven't already, and liked. 66 watching. This is phenomenal. Hey, Keith Coburn is here. Bell Bottom Blues. Is that a song? Yeah. And have I heard it? Because I might have heard it, and it's so far down in my subconscious. Who would do the Bell Bottom Blues? Not the guy who did I Drink Alone, right? What's his name? George Thorogood now. You really are one hip chick, and I don't even know why. See, I missed that. Why is she one hip chick? I missed some of the comments. It's impossible to catch them all. But we have a lot of wonderful women here. We do. See, I didn't say a lot of cute women here, because that would be sexist. That would be sexist. Tammy, he said that? Is Tammy, which Tammy? Is Tammy really Randy? Tammy Biggerstaff? Bob 1974 says, I have my mother's copy of Elvis. What happened? And where can you get the book? Probably on Amazon, right? They have everything. If not eBay, eBay would have it. Get yourself an old copy of that. I don't know if it'll have the cassette tape, if it's the one. Elvis, What Happened? That's the one from the Memphis Mafia, right? Where they were outing Elvis for being addicted to prescription pain medication. Is that true? I get confused because there's books with similar titles. You just moved to the great city. No. I just moved to the beat of my own. Oh, you moved to the beat of your own drum. Well, I think we still need to know more because we're inquisitive here, I bet you maybe have an interesting life. Jack the Fair Guy is my email. We don't have to put it on the air, Jack the Fair Guy. And by the way, I never get blue in an email, so don't think I'm trying to trick you. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. I used to do that on the phone when lonely women would call me in the middle of the night. And I was Jackie London for a spell, I swear one night. I shouldn't say. And then I'm going to read scripture. It shows you the flesh versus the spirit that has always fought my life. I pick up the phone one night about 3:00 in the morning. That's just when I'm calling myself Jackie London. I say 92 Rock 7. Who am I talking to? And she says, my name is whatever her name was. She said, I'm listening to you, Jackie, in my bed, and I'm not wearing anything. That was her opening line to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's the perks of the job, but you had to be so careful. You had to be so careful. Oi, yes, change the subject. Trump 2024. Um, I was a DJ for many years. Ms. So many letters, DJ. I began my radio career in Fredonia in 1977. Fredonia, New York, which is near Buffalo. I was 20. It was the day Elvis died that I arrived in Dunkirk to begin my radio career in Fredonia. The day he allegedly died, says the Bob Joyce storyteller guy. So I was there, and then I went and lived in California for a year or so, and didn't do radio out in California. They weren't going to hire me in Los Angeles. I was still green. Came back to what I consider my hometown, which is here, and did radio for 8 years at the Wall Radio Castle up the street, WALL, and also 92 Rock 7 on the FM. And I was off for a year or two, and then in 1990, I went to work playing contemporary Christian music at the Sound of Life Radio Network in Kingston, New York. I was there for 11 years and did some minor stuff after that. But in 2010, I got back into radio full-time at WVOS-FM in Monticello, New York, and I was there for a year and a half before they downsized. Live and sometimes voice tracked. It depended. Yes, a lot of radio. I worked for Cousin Brucey. That was my big thing. And Robert F.X. Sillerman, who would eventually buy the rights to the name Elvis Presley. He owned the radio station with Cousin Brucey down the road. Went to parties at his house and everything. But he passed away in 2019 as a billionaire with a lot to live for. So, tomorrow is promised no man. Yes, he loved those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, didn't he? And those mashed potatoes. Yeah, I have a big helping of mashed potatoes when he woke up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. His habits in the end were pretty bad. It was the story in the Albert Goldman book that they were all sitting around Graceland, him and the Memphis Mafia, and they were talking about the best peanut butter and jelly sandwiches they ever had at this place. And Elvis said, well, let's go get them. They fired up the jet and they flew like 1,500 miles to get peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They did. That's in the Albert Goldman book. By the way, so New Year's Eve, I can't believe we're still on. Can't believe I've never gone this long. But you guys are fantastic, and I really appreciate your support. I really do. It really helps my watch time hours when people watch a lot of this, the watch time hours come into play. But it was just so depressing having to, now that I know Anderson Cooper is such a sellout, I can't enjoy him anymore. I like the other guy, Andy Cohen somewhat, they're entertaining, and I like Richard Quest. They're all gay men, and that's their choice in life, Many men have had bisexual feelings, whether they admit it or not. And anyway, but they're hard to watch now, especially Anderson, because I feel he's just ruined his own reputation with hatred for Donald Trump, And then on ABC, they got all these acts that I could care less about. You couldn't care less about is the right way to say it. I missed Rod Stewart on ABC. That's the one I wanted to see. And so it was kind of a depressing way to bring in the new year. Some people were watching Leonard Skinner on the Country Channel. There's nobody left from Leonard Skinner. They're all gone now. So you're watching either kids from the original band, their children, or it's mostly it's a cover band now. And it's the same for the Guess Who that's coming to our theater here at the Paramount Theater in March, the Guess Who. But there's nobody original in there. it might be the drummer, the original drummer. And so now Burton Cummings, who sang a lot of the great Guess Who songs like American Woman, No Time, and Randy Bachman, who sang some of the songs and then went on to form Bachman Turner Overdrive, Taking Care of Business, Rolling Down the Highway, and so many more. They're suing the Guess Who, claiming that they're a cover band and that they're actually using some of their photos and stuff like that. So there's a big lawsuit now between the founders of the Guess Who and the band that's calling themselves the Guess Who. So I probably won't go to see them in March, but I am curious as to how they would sound. Let me read a few scriptures on change. So appreciate you and come back. We'll try to be back here next Saturday night. I better keep the same glasses on. Some scriptures that deal with change. One of the hardest things for me to change my ways. The flesh versus the spirit. Isaiah 43:19. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. 2 Corinthians 5, verse 17, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old man has gone, the new is here. I think I know a pastor that might use that scripture. 2 Peter 3, verse 9, the last one, the Lord is not slow in keeping his promises, as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but everyone to come to repentance. Repentance means I've been walking one way towards darkness. I'm going to change my ways and walk towards the light. I don't do that enough. I've got to get more serious about that mission. So that's the story. Good night, all. Thank you, Stephen. Good night, Ted. Ms. DJ, one hip chick. Brenda, two Brendas tonight, including Brenda Sage. Brenda Noyce was here. And Robin, I appreciate you stopping by. Bob, 1974, guess the year we're born. Susan Carter, we have so many Susans. Richard Lyon in lovely Florida. Yes, I am jealous, I must admit. Jimmy Sample stopped by. Thank you, Jimmy. And I said Robin and Ted and of course, Shell from Canada. Thank you, Shelley, for stopping by, as did Deborah Lake. And here's one I didn't even see. Debbie Bishop, not a Priscilla fan. She says, Randy did drop by. Yes, I missed it. According to Pastor Bob's own words, his birthday is 0677. Remember his sermons about his rebirth. Yes. I don't know what sermon you saw that in, but I know that they have celebrated. Last year they celebrated his 70th birthday. And I'm not going to go into all that. I do it in the videos, I'm not going to go into all that, but, we probably have a disagreement there, and that's cool. That's what life is about. Keith Coburn, talking about those bell-bottom blues. And all the rest of you, if you're watching in the replay, please let us know where you're from. Please hit the subscribe and like button. We're well over 5,000 now. And December 2023 was by far the most successful year we have ever had. Maybe I'll give you a few analytics next week. Got a video we'll release about 4:30 this afternoon. If you're watching live, the full story of this man's experience when he visited Household of Faith. All right. So pray for Deborah Lake. Pray for Paul McCreary, who's got a number of ailments. Deborah's going to be going through chemo. Pray for. We are not hearing from her lately, but Joanne Cooper Troop and her husband, they work hard, but they have health issues. And you can always put your issues in the comment section of the pre-recorded video of the replay. Of the replay. Put them there, and I'll hopefully a number of people will remember to pray as I will. Yeah, as I say, pray for Digger for Moonshiners. I love him, and he's got lymphoma.